So I don't know how the other ultimatums were or whatever.
Oh, okay.
I
Mhm.
found the reunion sort of a letdown. I was like, I don't know if you need additional parts, or maybe everybody kind of like you go through this whole experience and now we're just like engaged but just dating. Like I was like, okay. So I feel
Mhm.
like except for like Nola and Lebo
Yeah.
and Kanya and
Yeah.
Kato, those were the only couples where it was like interesting. Everybody else, I don't really. I
What
mean,
about Ruth? What about Ruth and Isaac?
not really, because they're basically like we cool, but we not with each other. So
Okay.
you know what I
Okay.
mean? Like they were
Yeah.
kind of interesting. I really felt like Ruth was the most she was one of the few that I felt was okay. She was the most authentic, the most,
Mhm.
oh, I think I've learned something about myself. And I think um I think it's good that Isaac hasn't jumped into a new relationship. Because I think he
Well,
kind of needed to
he's
grow
but
and he learned how to
he,
cook, so that's good.
that's
Um,
good. I'm actually
so
I'm talking to him tomorrow morning. So, let me know if you have any questions about that you want me to.
yeah, I
But
mean, I guess I would want to hear more. Like he made it seem like he wasn't um going after Lebo, but I mean, I guess that would really be my only question. Like, has he gone
mm,
after her? Because I feel like he really liked her and stuff, and the fact that they kept in contact, whether they were dating or not dating or whatever. He seemed to really have feelings for her. So that would
mhm,
really be my
mhm,
only question is kind of where is he with Lebo now? That would be my only
mhm.
question, really.
All right, we're gonna let's start with that. Let's start with him and Ruth. Okay, they've been married. I mean, they've been in this relationship for about 2 years. The reason why Ruth gave the ultimatum is because she's not met anybody from the family. And Isaac was trying to give the bullshit reason, like, oh my gosh, in my culture, you don't bring somebody home unless you're very ready to marry them. Bullshit, because you meet Kenya and you hook up with Kenya, and then you have already introduced Kenya to your brothers and cousins. Okay, Ruth was not asking you to bring her home. Ruth was saying, "Can I just meet your cousin? Can I just meet
Right.
somebody?" All right. And so now talk to me about that, because and because when Kenya when Isaac met his cousin and his brother and introduced Kenya to them, he said, Ruth has not given him anything to make him feel like, he need to introduce her to the family. It's been 2 years, brother.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the thing where I felt that Isaac probably, I don't know, maybe he needs some more growth
Hmm.
because whatever his motivation was for choosing Kanya, it wasn't really based on anything. I think it was
Hmm.
based on like I would say her wig, but we saw her lace
Oh
most of the
my God,
season.
did you see that? Mm.
So her lace looked horrible.
Mm.
But not that I'm not one to, I definitely, I purposely have my bad wig videos, so it's fine. But, but I feel like for whatever reason, he was extremely attracted to her. And so, which I didn't really get. And that's one thing that's interesting when you do the cast where, the majority of the class is black because I
Black,
didn't really
yeah.
feel that she was that much better. She kind of held herself in a pretentious way, but she
Yeah.
wasn't really that much better looking than anybody. So, but
No,
for
no.
whatever reason, because I don't even think we ever really or he didn't really find out necessarily. I wasn't always clear on what she did for a living. So, I'm not sure, so I don't know. So he basically because he had a deeper connection with Lebo and he chose Kanya over her, which
Hmm.
he then regretted. So I'm not sure what it was that made him choose her. And so they were having fun, but I think it was mostly maybe it was the way she dressed or something. Maybe he was really impressed by her clothes and all that stuff. Like,
Well, they were having fun until she could not even wash the dishes, and she's been in the
well,
house. They're holding
But
it.
yeah, but also what they brought up in the reunion was that's what I'm saying. Like they were having fun when he was like spending money and doing the things. And I think to me, he was very attracted to maybe like her designer clothes. She has a very sort of upscale outside of the wig,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm,
upscale
mm-hmm,
look. So I
mm-hmm,
think he was very impressed by what she was wearing and dressing and stuff because and she's an attractive woman. I think they all were attractive, but it wasn't like she was supermodel or whatever, but she did wear a lot of it seemed like she dressed nice, and I think he was sort of entranced by that because I'm like, Lebo even remembered your birth. The other women,
mm-hmm,
I don't know, they
mm-hmm,
just
mm-hmm,
seemed like they had a bit more
mm-hmm.
substance in her.
And that and
So
that 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 goes back to what I know it is in Africa. Okay, if somebody is light skinned, you put them away up there. You think that they're way better than anybody else, and I feel like that's what
and
that
maybe
that's
that's what it
exactly.
was. 'Cause to me, I didn't feel like she was that much lighter than people, but
But in
I can see
Africa,
where
she
yeah.
is.
Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
can see where you would think that, and then honestly, I couldn't really tell if she was that much lighter or she was wearing light foundation because it was something with her makeup that I wasn't, like, really riding on, but, yeah, that's what to me, I feel like he was enthralled, and then because to me, even when she was at the table where she was like, "Oh, everybody else just bored me," or whatever. Like, I think the whole season did have sort of a pretentious air about her that was almost offensive. So to me, for you to choose that person over Lebo, who was always just seemed very honest and down to earth and sort of, like a sweet person, I definitely felt like his mind wasn't really in the right place, in terms
uh
of
this is
that.
this is this is he's a dark skinned guy, and most of us, most Africans, we know we are black, black. But then you're introduced to this girl who is wearing wigs even when so I have a problem with somebody who is wearing wigs even when you're going to bed. Remove the damn wig. Okay, okay, remove the damn wig when you're going to bed. She's over there. You're supposed to be removing all that shit that you have so that you can go to bed. But she's over there combing her wig so she can go to bed. So there's that. And then you have to give her credit. Out of all the couples or everybody on the cast, she had I wanna say, her English is you can understand her better than everybody else. Somewhat
Yeah.
she's
Yeah, her English
exposed.
was good. I do think
Mm-hmm.
yeah, her English was good. I would say that,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Somewhat she's more exposed than anybody else, and so she comes in there. Okay, you have to remember, even when she was meeting everybody else, she's like, "Oh, they're boring, they're boring." I don't know, because she's a human being. She's gonna go over there. She sees, look at the people, the way they are talking, the way they are carrying themselves, and she's like, "Oh, I am the prize." No wonder she said she's a table.
Yeah, I just felt like she had a really I don't know, like she came into it with a really sort of like just to me like a bad attitude.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I think
Mm-hmm.
for Isaac to not get that even early on, because I feel like early on she was always stank from the beginning. So for him to choose her over Lebo really makes you realize that he was just looking at things that were entirely surface, like
It could be
really,
that.
you
It
know.
could be that. It could also be like she wanted to make Ruth feel some type of way. All right, like a threat or some type of way. Um, because it did not make sense that you have a very Lib over here who is wants to. Lib was there for the experience. Lib was there for experience. But then for Isaac and Ruth, I feel like this tit for tat. Like you do this to me, then I'm gonna do this. Because the reason why Ruth chose Nola is because Isaac said, I had every good interaction with everybody apart from my ex. And then out of that, she does go to with Nola. Talk to me about that, the decision making about Ruth.
I agree with that because I think she originally was gonna go with, I forgot the other guy, but she was gonna go with someone
Lindila.
else.
She was gonna go to with Lindila, and really wished she went with Lindila because then you learn so much. Because Lindila is not a guy who is so ready to sleep with you. All right, Nola and Ruth, they were already so hyped up. They are ready to smash.
Yeah, yeah. So I do recall that she went with Nola because I think she did originally do that to anger Isaac, which was kind of like, but that being said though, she did have a connection with both. Like I feel like I think she had a stronger connection with Nola, and then the other guy kind of came around at the end. And then she was just like, "Oh, okay, maybe." And I think she was going to go that way because I think um Lindile was more, it was just more, it wasn't, I think with Nola, it was, it was just the excitement and the attraction or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so but when, so I do agree that out of anger, she made that choice.
She did.
But in the end, I didn't think it was necessarily a bad choice, really. So, because she did have a connection with him and,
Mm-hmm.
it just like, it kind of went awry, um, but yeah, so I think that
I
it
think
is,
that
I
I
like the
think
fact that
that
they gave each other a chance though, even after that whole debacle. I like that they stayed and at least
I
tried to
don't know. I don't
disagree.
know. I don't know, Erica. I don't know because I don't know, and that's a question I'm gonna ask because why did they stay? Did they stay because they realized, if you're not checking for each other, then we're gonna get out of TV. You're no longer gonna be filming. This opportunity is gone, right? Right? Because they had already seen Nola and Lebo already left, and so no cameras are no longer following you anymore. So did you stay because of the cameras? Because if you are so upset that your girl slept with somebody else, right? And you are like, you know what, I'm gonna go home, let me think about it. And then you come back. I'm like, I don't know. I don't know, Erica.
I thought it was okay because I thought that they really needed to work it out, and however it fell out, I think they had an opportunity to get through it because I think he still, I mean, cuz to me I feel like yeah, you're mad that your person slept with somebody else or the way it came out or whatever, but her point really was I slept with him because you were kind of treating me crazy. And I think I mean, she shouldn't, she did what she did. I won't say it was totally out of revenge or whatever, but it's like, yeah, he had to admit, like, he had to know when he took Kanye to meet her family, it was going to be a problem because he knows she's been asking for that for 2 years. And you took some random person you just met. So to me, he definitely did things where he probably didn't think she would be bold enough to sleep with anybody else, but he moved in a way with Kanya purposely, I would say, to even to hurt her because he had to know that she would know out of all the things outside of, cuddling or whatever. Once he took Kanya to meet his family and he had never taken Ruth, then he knew that she would probably be like, "Wait, I've been with you for 2 years and you just met this person and she's meeting your family," and he wouldn't really have an answer. Like, I feel like he kind of did it out of spite because he barely knew Kanye anyway. So, he was I
So
to
could
me,
you
I feel like if you move in a way where you are sort of antagonizing the person, then while I do feel like it's hard for Black men to forgive when they know they basically ain't shit, like, why not give you a pass? So that's kinda how I took it. I think that he really cared for her, but he knew he was wrong in some of the things that he had done himself. So to me, that's why he was able to be like, "Okay, maybe I can show you some forgiveness." I think the problem is he probably expected Ruth to be more humble and be more like, "Oh, I'm so sorry I slept with somebody else," and whatever. And she was sorry, but she wasn't that sorry because she was like, "Dude, you've been treating me like." nothing for a while. So I'm not that sorry. I was horn whatever. And
Mhm.
so I think he may have expected something different, but I think to at least because I feel like had they left, maybe like Nola and Lebo, I don't think they really would have had those conversations. Either they would have left and gotten back together and just kind of pretend it never happened, or you know what I mean? Or where I do
Mhm.
feel like
Mhm.
them staying those extra because I feel like I agree with you in the well, no, I don't because I feel like they actually did some I feel like they actually did some work, you know what I mean? Like, he kinda
Mhm.
halfway
Mhm.
stayed, but it was halfway still holding it against her, and she was
Right.
kinda like, "Well, if you gonna stay, either forgive me or nah," and so I think she was very upfront with who she was,
Mhm.
and he just was like, "Well, look, I had this ring, like, I didn't
Well,
really
I was
feel."
gonna ask you about that. What's the deal of him showing her the ring? Isaac knew he's not gonna propose to that girl. Stop with the bullshit and the nonsense of the ring. You know you're not gonna be proposing to that girl.
I
Stop
think
playing.
I think he probably I mean, he had the ring, so I think when he first got there, his thing was, "Okay, maybe by the end I'll propose." Because he brought
Mm,
the ring, and that's the thing too. I mean, that I guess that was sort of the thing that was to me disappointing to some extent about the
the
reunion because it's like,
reunion.
yeah,
We never talked about that.
you get the ring, but like no, nobody's really getting married. So it's like, oh, okay, well, we'll just see what happens. We'll check back in a year. Like, okay. So
Well, what do you mean by that? What do you mean by that?
I mean that so many of them are engaged, but everybody is sort of like, well, we're still working on our relationship. So
Well,
nobody's
but
really
that's how it is. That's how it is in Africa. You don't because it was a show. They had to either choose to get married to this person or you engage them. If you do choose to engage them, then there's protocol that has to be followed. All right, you have decided to marry this girl. You have to go to the family and ask for permission or blessings. And for you to do that, there has to be a price that you pay, which is called dowry. So we can take care of the TV show and you engaging and giving me this
but
ring,
even
but we also
still,
have to
I mean, I
follow.
think that was only Lindile and SZA or whatever. But like some of the other people are like legitimately no, I don't feel like everybody's like, "Oh, we're gonna get married, but I'm saving up for my dowry and the protocol." A lot of these people are like, "We gonna get married, but we got to figure out our relationship," which is kind of like
Mm.
different. So, I mean, I get what you're saying in terms of okay, the families and stuff. Like I've seen that in other shows and stuff. So I get that part. But I think
Yeah.
Lindile is the only one who's kind of like, okay, where it seems to be financial. The other people seem to be like, we're trying to figure out relations. I mean, maybe it is financial and they just not saying nothing, but everybody else is kind of like, oh, we're figuring out our relationship or whatever. Where I'm kind of like, well, I thought that was the purpose of not the show, but I thought you were supposed to be like moving towards marriage, where some of the other people that like they're
And
engaged.
that's what confused me with her, because she's saying the things that we needed to work on, and we need to work on these things. She never mentioned about the dowry, because the first time we were introduced to her, she kept talking about the cows. You have to bring the cows. You have to come and meet my family, and then he gives you this ring, and then gives you a letter, which is protocol. They give you a letter to take home, tell them, I'm interested in this and this and this. Now all of a sudden we learn at the reunion it's no longer about the cows. She's like, oh, there are other things that we needed to talk about. I'm like, what other things? They look
Right,
so
exactly,
happy
exactly.
together.
So I'm kinda like, "Okay, so, like, just give the ring back and just date or whatever, like,
Yeah.
what are we doing?"
Eh.
So, yeah, so I think to me, Lindile was the only person where it seemed like, "Okay, look, I met the family, I'm moving forward, I'm still gotta get my money right." He's the only person that really seemed to be saying that. Everybody else was kinda like, "Oh, we're building," like, or whatever.
That's Lindile. That's Lindile for you. And
Yeah.
that's talk to me about the girlfriend who is always giggling. She annoys me sometimes. You know what I mean? Like it is annoying. So stop at some point. Just stop giggling. Ah, stop.
Well, it's interesting because I really felt like Lindilly had a good connection with Tabby. So
Yes.
I was kind of surprised. So to me, I feel like although Lindele seems like he's moving forward with SZA and the family and stuff, that's the one couple where I felt like they just did it to be doing it. Because I really felt like she had a really good connection with Nakato, and I felt like he had a really good connection with Tabby.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I mean, if they're happy, then great. But even when they got back together, it just didn't seem. It seemed like they still were carrying feelings and missing the other people.
Mm-hmm. 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 Um.
So, so I
Mhm.
mean, but hopefully things like work out or whatever, but they definitely see, like, I would almost say they were more doing it. I'm not gonna say they were doing it for the cameras. I wouldn't say anybody's doing it necessarily for the cameras, but I did not feel that they were all the way back. And then even with Genesis and Tabby, I felt like Genesis was mature about it, but I didn't feel like they were all the way back connected either, really. So
Who?
Tabby and Genesis, even
I
though
thought they.
he was very mature about acknowledging that she had connected with someone else, but I didn't really feel like they were all together all the way clicking, like, really either, honestly.
um. All right. So we have clear that we know that he's a player, right? He's a player. He's a player. Okay. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know why he kept lying to the guys. He's being asked questions and he's not even coming out straight saying, I did A, B, C, and D. You'd respect him for that, you know?
Yeah. I thought that was okay. I mean, I wasn't as offended by that, but um I wasn't clear on, yeah, like, to me, I felt like, okay, I think he thought Ruth was really going to not say anything because that's what they agreed. So if that's what they agreed to, I wouldn't tell everyone either, honestly.
Mm, mm. All right, all right. So then we go to now Kenya. Let's talk about Kenya because Kenya, I don't know why I would want to have a child with a guy whose mom is saying that woman will never change. That woman will never change. She will never change. She's evil and she's not good for my son. Why would I want to go ahead? And we were all shocked at the reunion when she said, I have a 3-year old, 3 months old baby at home.
Yeah. Um, I don't know. Yeah, that's the thing. I
Oh,
mean,
first of all, they are no longer together. First of all, they're no longer together.
oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I went on the IG and Kateko was very clear, like we are not together, we are not together, we are not together, people, we are not together. Because everybody was coming for him, like, why would you wanna be together with somebody who is. So he said, no, we are not together. So
Oh,
yeah.
well, I don't know.
Well, but then there's a child now involved. So whether you are
Yeah,
together
I
or not,
mean,
you're gonna have to communicate with this person.
yeah, like, to me, I mean, okay, so I won't say for necessarily for cameras, but I felt like for him, even when he was getting back with her and stuff, it's like, to me, he always looked weak, like, the whole
Very
time.
weak.
And
Very
I
weak.
was like, I think he just kind of went with it because he couldn't have, he was with SZA.
Mm-hmm.
So because I think it looked like SZA and Lindile were getting back together, I'm not sure what. Like, part of me was like, are they doing this to spite the other person? Because I was like, part of it, I think, with him was when he took SZA over there and let Kanya, like, basically curse the girl out, and he kind of like went back to
And
the
he went
place
away.
or
He
hid in the bushes
disappeared.
or whatever he did.
Yeah,
To
he
me,
disappeared.
he lost credibility with SZA. Like, that's when he messed up their relationship. But he probably, because to me, I felt like they had a really good connection, and he liked
Mhm,
her kind of silliness and stuff. And
mhm,
so I thought they would be good together because he's clearly kind of soft too, right? So
mhm,
they would have
mhm.
done good together, I think, except that when she saw that weakness, she was like, okay, no, I can't do that. And so I can
She
see. where she would
Yeah.
be like, "Okay, no, I need someone who's gonna support me." And even though he held her afterwards and kind of apologized,
You know,
I think he
the
himself
damage
is
is already done.
yeah, and I think he himself I think she made the point, like, "You wanted me to go over there and fight your battles with Kanya," and I think that was true.
Mm.
And I think
You
yeah.
because he already knew who Kanye was. Anyway, you
Yeah, and then
know,
even
she's
like,
gonna
yeah,
pour.
like,
Mhm.
even on this episode even on the reunion where he's like, "Oh, you're not perfect, but you're amazing." Like, boy, where? Like,
There's
she was used
nowhere.
the entire
Where is
time.
amazing?
She was used
The
the
wig is
entire
not
time,
amazing.
and
Mm-mm. Yeah.
the only thing you can say is, because what is he, an actor or something? The only thing I can say is, although she did seem like she was very materialistic, she seemed like she would let him slide, I guess, if he didn't have enough money. I don't know, but she
What's
definitely
that?
was about money, and he could kind of see that, and he discussed it with Isaac, and it's like, yeah, like basically she's a gold digger, and
Yes.
so yeah, like eventually, he got her to a place where where she was laughing, kind of like with Isaac, where they had some fun surface times, but you know,
There was nothing. There was nothing perfect about not the wig, not the mannerism. Nothing that's perfect. Your mama always know the best. Your mama is already telling you this woman is not good for you. Okay,
and I
just
think
listen
he
to your mama.
knew she wasn't good. He doesn't need the mother or anybody else. He knew, but he didn't have the strength to tell her like no. So I'm just going to do this promised ring. So to me, he's the one out of everybody who needs to do the most work because he seems, he's attractive. He seems like a nice person. He seems like a good person, but he has to look at his self-esteem and be like, why would I go through this or put myself through this
Right.
or go back through this or whatever. So
Yeah.
that's where I was kind of like, and then, yeah, and then you're going to go in. And I don't know if she trapped him and got pregnant on purpose. Like,
Hmm.
the pregnancy thing is just confusion
It was
because,
confusion to me.
I'm like, okay, y'all too old to be like, it's an accident, really.
Right.
And on either side, because to me, if you're not proposing to her and gonna actually be married to her, why would you be going raw? Like, why would you do that? And you already
Right.
know how she is. And then on her side, I guess she might have been thinking like, well, if I get pregnant, then I'll definitely get the ring that I
Mm.
want. I mean, I don't know. I'm not even saying who knows because the way they did it, but like it just seems like a bad idea all the way around because she was so mean to him. She wasn't really nice to him, let
No,
alone anybody else.
she
She was mean to
poured
everybody.
wine. She poured wine on his ass on
Yeah,
the bed.
yeah,
Ah,
yeah. So for him to
shit.
even come up with the promise ring was crazy.
It was
So,
crazy.
and for you to still go crawling back after that, it's like
It's
his
crazy.
mother needs to be working on his self-esteem. That's what
Yes.
his mother needs to do
Mm-hmm.
because it's like
He need to
he
be, yeah.
should think higher of himself.
He
So
need to be
yeah, that was
consulting
just
the gods. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, that was a
Absolutely.
total shocker, but I felt sorry. I mean, I kind of feel sorry for him, but I'm like,
He's grown ass man. I'm not
yeah,
feeling sorry for
yeah.
him. Mm-mm.
He needs to work on he's one of the people that needs to work on themselves because I was like, get your
Right.
self-esteem up because she's
Right.
attractive, but she's so
She
mean. It's like you can't
is.
even really see
You
her
cannot even
beauty.
see the attract. You cannot see the beauty. Correct. You cannot see the beauty. She's just like, and then Caesar was so graceful at the reunion. When she said, "I have apologized to everybody." I feel bad that she was not held accountable. She's not outspoken. She's just a mean person. And for the girl who was hosting the reunion saying, "Oh, you are very outspoken." No, she's not outspoken. She's mean.
Right. And that was another thing too. I was like, she's rude.
Ah,
Like
she's very
like
rude.
the stuff she said to people was just horrific. The way she talked to Ruth, the way she talked about the like that was my thing
Huh?
from the very beginning when she was
Calling
like,
her fat,
"Oh, Isaac
calling
was
her
nice and
fat.
everybody else was boring." Like from that
Yeah,
moment on, she was a bitch the entire time. Like to
yeah, and calling
everybody.
her fat,
Yeah.
telling her to her face, spitting. She's so close to her personal space. Her saliva is on her face.
I mean,
Oh
and
shit!
then
I
even
would
when
smack
she
the
was
hell.
saying how Nikito was, "Oh, I know his laugh. He's just fake laughing with her." Like there were so many times where she was so mean to people that it was like it was hard to even see her as attractive because
Mm-hmm.
she just came off like, okay, like the thing that everybody hates, the bitter black woman. Like that's how she was with every single person.
Mm-hmm.
And she had a couple of nice times with Isaac, and then she was acting a fool with him the rest of the time. So, and then she was mean to the ladies, and then you know, and yeah, and I was surprised. Like the host never asked
Ever,
her, like, "Is there
ever.
anybody you want to apologize to?" Nothing, nothing.
Nothing. She just said, I apologize to the people. And then the girl, Caesar, was asked, do you accept the apology? She said, yeah, I accept the apology. I'm like, girl, hold these people accountable. Enough of your giggling. Now, I don't mind her giggling, but there's sometimes that we call for seriousness. Like when
Right.
somebody is doing these things to you, you need to like, no, 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 bitch, no.
Yeah, the only
Don't
thing
call
I
me
think
fat.
the only apology that seemed real was when she said, because I guess people probably tore her up in the comments or something when about calling the girl fat. So that was the only time where she really seemed like, oh, I shouldn't have body shamed her. That was the closest thing to like a real apology. But it's like you were rude and just said things crazy to people the entire time. She didn't apologize to basically calling Ruth a hoe. Like she didn't apologize for
Mm-hmm.
that. So there are so many.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing she really apologized for was calling SZA like fat or whatever. But it's like, well,
Yeah,
what
because she
about all the
knows,
other things you said? Like
right? Right?
what? So yeah, I agree. I feel like the host could at least, um,
Ask more questions or
yeah,
hold
because it
accountable.
wasn't outspoken. It was just rude. Like honestly, it
It's
was.
not outspoken, it's rude. Yeah, that's not being outspoken. That's being rude.
Yeah.
Um, did you see this? This is so cute. This is like she is so dramatic with her face. She's so dramatic.
Yeah.
She's
I
just so
liked her.
dramatic. Yeah, she's. And then I saw this post. Uh this is Nola. Nola is saying that your enemies are very close to you because when Lebo said broke up with him, Isaac was clapping and Aiden was clapping over here. All right, you
Yeah,
put
and
out a
I
post.
actually did not like that because I'm like,
Why?
yeah, no, I didn't like that because Lebo, you knew when to me, like someone
Mm,
else said, she was waiting for that moment, and that's like, okay, that not saying he deserves anything or not, but
mm-hmm.
she is, to me, she just seemed very
Angry,
solid and a good person
revengeful.
until this point. So to me, it's like,
Really?
how long have you been pretending with him to get to the show, to get to the reunion, just to be like, I'm done? Like I don't know. It was just kind of, yeah, like I just felt that was kind of a wild thing to do because I'm like,
Mm,
because to me, you've been known, but
mm-hmm,
you wanted him to feel the pain that you felt in the episode because it's on TV. And
mm-hmm,
so that I was kind of like, I just thought she was a bigger person than that, to be honest. So that
mm,
part was a little bit almost disappointing because you could just tell the way she did it. Like she's been broken up with him for a long time because she wasn't upset or whatever. She just was like, yeah, I'm done. So to me, she did it to humiliate him, really, because in her heart, she's been broken up with him for a while. And so I'm like, you all could have been like Isaac and Ruth and just come to the show and been like, okay, we got back together, but we're not together now. And I think she wanted that
mm-hmm.
moment of him being the one shocked and hurt and stuff. And um I don't know. Like I think the whole revenge thing, I don't know. I think I
Yeah,
just thought she was
better than that.
yeah, just better because to me, I think revenge a lot of times by the time it's gotten, Because to me, that was the thing with Nola. Like, he was so mad that Ruth said whatever, he called Isaac or whatever. But at the end of the
Mm-hmm.
day, that made him look even worse. And so, and I feel like that's often how revenge works. Like, Ruth
Mm-hmm.
didn't tell Lebo out of revenge, because
Mm-hmm.
then that
Mm-hmm.
might have made, or to get Nola or something.
Right, right.
She
No,
told her
no.
out of
Yeah.
guilt, smiling in
Right,
somebody's face and you sleeping with
right,
her man.
right.
So that's why it came from a different space. And so I feel like that's how they were able to almost be okay. But I think, and and everybody has a moment. So I think Lebo has been holding on to this moment, but it's like, he's not for you. And what Isaac was saying made sense. Like, you need to be free. And so even just holding on to that animosity is like a lot. But I mean, it's hard because I know the way she found out about, I know that was her biggest fear. And, and she was traumatized. So I understand it. But that part was kind of a little disappointing, to be honest, because it's like,
Mm,
you just set him up, and not saying like, obviously he deserves it, but it's like, but it does make someone look at your mental space like, okay, because you could have just broken
mm,
up with him and move on with your life because
mm-hmm,
you're better than this. So
mm-hmm.
that was my
And
only
not
concern.
and not now saying, I was out of state and had to come back because I wanted to work the relationship. I'm like, not you.
That was probably, see, 50-50, because it was probably BS. However, like I said, she's been out of the relationship for a while. So he
Mhm.
might have done that because she wasn't all up in his face like she usually is. Because she probably was already kind of like, I'm going to just do the bare minimum so I can get him on this show and make him look crazy. And
Mm.
he probably was like, oh, wait, she's not calling me every day and texting me a million times a day. Let me not take another job out the country.
Mm.
Because I know because the way she was moving, I don't think she suddenly came to this conclusion during the reunion. So
Mm.
she has been checked out probably
She
for a while.
planned it.
Yeah.
Right.
She probably hasn't been, she's probably been there, but only partially there. And people can notice stuff. So, he was shocked, but he wasn't like, he probably knew it was coming too. So I think,
Because she's the one who told Alden, whatever his name is, the white boy, to go and do this, to go spy on everybody and see what they are doing, right? So she was already insecure in the situation.
yeah, yeah, which is another thing that was sort of tough,
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah, that scene was kind of crazy because it's like, okay. And I felt bad for them because, and the same way I felt like, I don't know. So I haven't seen the other ultimatums because I don't want to say it was necessarily a race thing, but I
Hmm.
felt like Aiden and I forgot his
Courtney,
girlfriend's name.
Courtney.
Yeah, like I felt like because they weren't black
Black,
or whatever, they weren't really they weren't
part
really
of
they
part
weren't
of the
really
group.
engaged the same way because
Yeah,
they weren't really
yeah.
they weren't really attracted to the people. Like, I think Genesis definitely would have got with Courtney, but I
Oh
don't
yeah,
think she was really attracted to any of these black men. I don't
yeah.
think Aiden was really sexually attracted to any of the women either.
Hmm.
So it was
Hmm.
never going to be that conflict of, oh, am I going to cheat? Like, I don't think either one of them were like, ain't nobody up in here I'm going to get with, but I'll get some airtime. Like, I don't know. But
Right.
out of everybody, that's the one couple where I'm like, maybe they
What are
didn't
they
know,
doing?
but once they saw the other couples, they're like, okay, let me just get this check because there's nobody here, like, yeah, like, definitely Courtney. Maybe it wasn't until the last night where she halfway acted like she was gonna halfway even flirt with
Right.
Genesis, and
Genesis.
then
Yeah.
Nebo
Yeah.
and Aiden from the beginning were like, okay, we're roommates,
Yeah.
we're
We
good.
are just roommates. We're
So
just roommates.
yeah, so, so how they learned anything, they learned on their own because they didn't learn it all from this project or this experience. So not saying
Well,
that white people can't be mixed, but we got to do a better mixing because they definitely were
well,
like, no.
I think they were trying to represent South Africa because a quarter of them they are white. So they're like, you know what, if we're gonna bring the ultimatum, we have to bring in a white
Right,
couple.
which I
You know what I
get
mean?
that part. I thought that too, but then I was like, but you need to have people who actually,
Ready and open-minded
yeah, who would
to,
actually date
yeah,
black people.
date black
Like, I
people.
don't think they
Right.
would date black people, honestly. Not like they're
No,
racist or whatever, 'cause it's
absolutely no, no.
and it's
But you
probably
see,
some black
yeah,
people who wouldn't date them, so it's not a thing,
right,
but it's just like,
right,
clearly, there was nobody there where they would be, like, remotely sexually attracted. Like, that's kinda the vibe they were getting, like, "No, there's nobody here I would even get
right.
with."
Well, it clearly showed at the reunion because they were only given like 2 minutes out of everybody else. Like, okay, you're here. Let's just hear
"You're
what you have to
here, do
say.
you have a job?"
Do you have a
And
job?
yeah, so that was the only thing where I felt like, and so that was my biggest disappointment with the reunion, where it was sort of like most of the couples, even though it's like a year later, everybody is still basically like in
Still
the
in the
same
same
spot.
situation.
Yeah, like
Hmm.
ain't nothing changed except for Lebo dumps Nola and then the pregnant couple. Everybody
And the
else is kind of
pregnant.
like,
Yeah,
we had this fun experiment and now we're still dating, but we got these rings on, the people who have rings, and we're going to just say we're engaged, but we basically just
right,
boyfriend and girlfriend still.
right.
So that's the
And
only thing where it's like, okay. But but yeah, but it was definitely an interesting show. I mean,
but
yeah,
the reunion was filmed 6 months after.
I thought it was a year after.
Was it a year after?
That's what the hostess says. It's been a year. So that's, but yeah, it had to be a year because
Sure.
remember the baby is 9 months, is 3 months. So it had to be a year. So yeah, so it's a year
Oh
after.
my
And it's like,
goodness.
and they all still in the same spot. So I'm like, goodness.
Right? So
I'm
what
like,
are we doing?
y'all might need another experiment. How about that? I feel like some of these people need some more ultimatums.
Erica, you're full of shit. You're full of shit.
I'm just saying, 'cause I'm like, y'all, it's a year. Y'all ain't got no
Right?
date scheduled, nothing. Ain't nothing changed.
Nothing.
Like what?
It's like, so where are we? When are we gonna see the parents? When are we gonna pay the dowry? I mean, what's going
Thank
on? What's
you.
going on?
All I can
You
say
know,
is hopefully when you talk to Isaac, hopefully he's dating Lebo. That would be fun.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I'm talking to him tomorrow. I'm talking to Libo tomorrow. I'm talking to Nola tomorrow. Because I have a day off tomorrow, so I have scheduled them. I'm starting with Libo, and then I'm
Oh,
gonna interview. I'm gonna interview Nola, and then I'm gonna interview Isaac,
oh wow. Okay,
and then
that's
I have
great.
I have Lindile later. Lindile over the weekend. I have Ruth over the weekend. Uh, Tabi, we're still talking. She hasn't decided exactly. I don't know if I want to interview Caesar. Because I don't want her to start coming over here and start giggling when I'm asking questions. You know what I mean? So I don't know if I'm interested.
It's
But if
tough because I think
it's
SZA
really
is good. Like she's really sweet, but like don't interview her if you think you'll get irritated. You know what I mean? Like I'm cool with it because even though it's silly, I get it because I can tell a lot of her laughter is actually nervous. I think she laughs most of the time because she's nervous, honestly,
yeah,
more
and
than
then it becomes
anything.
annoying. It becomes
Yeah,
annoying
and
at
I
some
can see
point.
where it can be irritating to people, but it's like if you're
Hmm.
uncomfortable, she'll just be like, and
Yeah.
so I can see that, but then I can also see where it could be irritating. So
Right, right. So I'm like, you know what? Let me just interview Lindile, the husband to be. That way I can ask all the questions through
yeah,
him. And he's a good guy. He is, he's calm, very calm.
yeah,
So we'll see how that goes. We see that nowadays this girl over here, Tabi, she does not have this kind of hair. I really the hair that she has, like the look she had at the reunion, I was not feeling it.
oh, the
I was
purple
not
or
feeling
pink or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I was not feeling it.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they're both, she and SZA are both very pretty women, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah,
I like the twist in the braids too. Obviously,
yeah.
like
I like this. I
I get
like
my
this
hair
way.
twisted too, but
Yeah,
um
yeah.
But yeah, I know what you're saying. And then now, are you interviewing her?
We haven't figured out exactly the date, but I'm sure I'm gonna do that. I'm
Oh,
doing
okay.
her. I'm doing her tomorrow. I'm
Okay.
doing him tomorrow. I'm doing Isaac, and then Lindila is gonna be later. Lindila is gonna be like over the weekend, and Ruth is gonna be over the weekend. Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
Mm-hmm.
exciting. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see what they're all doing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I
It's
want to see.
crazy. The time, it's just because of the time difference. When I'm getting up in the morning, that's when the day is ending. I
Oh,
have to,
okay, okay.
yeah. So then it has to be in the morning, like 9 in the morning is when I'm supposed to be talking to these people. I'm like, can I just have some coffee and just not get up like on a Saturday morning? I just need to.
Oh, well, that's exciting, girl. Your channel is growing. That is exciting. Yeah, I'm so funny. I mean, I guess it's okay after the show is over, but I feel
Yeah.
like there's so much drama with, especially like with reality TV, with these
Right.
interviews. I'm like, oh,
Yeah,
no.
yeah, I know. I'm just talking to them there because they are my African people, and I feel like, I need to talk to my African people. And who knows? When I started my YouTube, it was not about the American stuff. It was always my intention was always like, what, I want to talk to my people back home, you know,
Right.
share experiences, and so this is what I had envisioned. So who knows? Who knows?
Yeah, and because I
You
know
never know.
I watched one season of the Housewives of,
Nairobi or Lagos?
no, it was the South African one. I forgot.
Lagos. There is Lagos. There is Lagos. There is also
There's one that's either, it's not Cape Town, it's one in
Cape
South
Town.
Africa. There's a South African Real Housewives, but I was only able to see the first season. There's been a few other seasons, but
Yeah,
then but I can't,
you got tired.
no, I can't get, it's not shown on my net, I can't get the
Yeah, they always have these crazy like
you have
networks.
to,
Like I'm like,
I think I would have to get a virtual VPN or something because I can't get it through my, it's not on any of my streaming platforms.
yeah.
Because it's not Sharp Entertainment, but whoever is doing the other ones, because it is really interesting. But then, and I followed a couple of the people um on Instagram and stuff, but it's I'm trying, you know what it is? It's Real Housewives of Durban. That's what it was.
Oh,
And that
Durban
was
was
so
good.
good.
Durban was
And
so
I was like, "Oh
good.
my god, it was so good." And then I was like, "How can I get these other seasons?" Because I was so mad because I was like, "Oh, it was so good."
Oh my gosh, Durban was so good.
Yes, I loved Durban, and I was like, "Oh, I really wanna see the other seasons, but I haven't figured out how to do that yet. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
try."
I hear you
Yeah, maybe I'll try with
because
a virtual network or something. I'm not sure, a
yeah,
VPN.
I really want you to, Erica. I seriously would love for you to interview, for me and you to do this kind of shows, African shows. Not like Real Housewives, right? Because there's the Real Housewives of Nairobi, where I come from, Kenya. They get, oh my nose, they get, because so we have all like five of them are Kenyan, all right, and then
Mhm.
we have one who is Indian because we have Indians back home, okay,
Right.
and then we have one who is white, all right. This white one, she is so, she all talks about, she talks Swahili. She's speaking Swahili in the thingy. But
Ah, okay.
everybody else who is like black as I am, they just want to be so American. It annoys me so much. I'm like, oh my gosh, we're in Kenya. Can we speak some
Yeah, and yeah,
Swahili,
for sure.
please?
I'll see what I can find. But yeah, because like that's even when we talk about Potomac, I always wanted to do because I kind of just stopped watching it this season, but I really wanted to do an episode because it was like clearly Wendy's mother was bleaching her skin. And I was like, is nobody
Yeah,
talking
they
about
bleach.
this? Like,
Yeah.
why is nobody saying anything? Because it's like it's so crazy right now. And I was like, ain't nobody gonna say it in the comments, in a confessional.
Mm-mm.
Can we get
No.
something? So like there's so many different things that you notice,
Right,
and
right,
and
right,
then
right, right.
especially what I liked about Durban too, which was nice, is
Mhm.
they really showed like the Zulu and
They
then
were
the
speaking the
whole,
language. They were speaking the language.
yeah, but
Mhm.
not even just the language. Like it was very interesting to see the communities and sort of like that sort of the distinction between, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we're
Mm-hmm.
Zulu, and then here you
Mm-hmm.
are looking ethnically ambiguous, and then
Yes.
you're
Yes.
married to this, you know, so
To
there were
this
a lot
person,
of
yeah.
different things that came into
Mm-hmm.
play. And then I
Mm-hmm.
started following the woman who hey, confessions. I started following the woman who had the baby for the prime minister guy, and she was like the side chick. So I definitely started
Uh-huh.
following her because I was like, because she was like, I don't care what you think I've been through. Like she just came in. Anyway, Durban was so good.
It's the Yeah, yeah.
And
It
I know
was
she's
fun.
not, yeah, I know she's not on it anymore, but I was like, and she was on another show that was about like side chicks or something. She was on another show that I couldn't get a hold of either because she was on another reality series. And I was like, oh man, I was like, I can't get any of these good shows. So you gotta let me know how you getting these shows, girl. But yeah, let's definitely try to do
I'll
one.
let you know. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We need to do that. We need to
Cause
do
yeah,
that. Well,
'cause I do think it's very interesting. Cause even like I'm getting ready to do my I've been reasonably up to date with 90 Day
90
Fiance.
fiance. I know.
Yeah,
I saw you. I saw you.
and it's so interesting because it's not just that he married an American woman, but he married this white woman. So the white people, I'm like, okay, come on, y'all, just go with the flow. You're supporting their son anyway. So what difference does it make?
Right.
Like she's not really their property because he's coming home with you. So how is it going to
Right.
work? So like
Mm-hmm.
whatever. So there's so many. So I do like the different. That's what I like about 90 Day Fiance is the
Yeah,
different.
because you're exposed to all these different cultures. Yeah, yeah.
Right, and it's always interesting to see the Americans and how they
Mm-hmm.
try to if they're willing to adjust or not. So that's
Yeah,
always interesting to see. But yeah, I
yeah.
definitely so yeah. So you said there's Legos. That would be nice though, because I think Real Housewives of Legos is like that
Oh,
would be
Legos, the Legos, they come with their outfit, they come with their, oh my gosh, Legos is extra. Nigerians are extra, 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 extra. So Nigerians, forget about South Africa. Nigerians are extra. So then we have Nairobi, my country, we have those. So there's Nairobi, there's Nigeria, and then there's South Africa. It's fun. It's really fun to watch. I get annoyed sometimes because I want like represent the culture. You don't understand. People just want to watch and see the different cultures. Can we just, represent
yeah,
us, right?
absolutely. Because I've even watched, I haven't seen them lately, but I watched the ones that were in Australia too, because those were crazy.
Uh-huh.
And those were
Uh-huh.
really interesting too, because it's like
Uh-huh.
you think it's the same, but it's not. And then definitely like Dubai, like I can't wait for Dubai to come
Right.
back. So that Dubai
Right.
was really very good as
Mm-hmm.
well. So it
Mm-hmm.
is really,
Mm-hmm.
I think
Mm-hmm.
some of the ones to see that are outside of the US are really some of the best ones. Or
Mm-hmm.
to me, they
Mm-hmm.
just seem more everybody has their theatrics, but since they're newer, they're just fresher. You know what I mean? Like they
Right.
seem more real and less scripted. Like everybody has a script, of course, but they just seem more authentic too because, it's a different culture and
Right.
stuff. So yeah, let's
Right.
definitely do some of these.
We'll
So
do
I
some of
will
that. Yeah.
for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But
Absolutely.
unfortunately,
Absolutely.
Ultimatum is over with. Are they coming back with what you call it? Young, Famous, and African? That was good. I did.
Yes, they already filmed.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Swanky told me, see, I would love to interview Swanky, but Swanky is always giving me a hard time. He really is giving me a hard time, seriously. But he told me that they've already finished filming Young, Famous, and African. They still don't see eye to eye with Anna, you
uh-huh.
know.
Uh-huh.
But they did finish. Yeah, they did finish filming Young, Famous, and African. Of course, we're gonna do that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. They did
Okay,
that.
cool. Yeah, I'm definitely
Mhm.
down for that one. That one was really good. And I
Okay.
saw on
Yeah.
Instagram that he was doing costumes for Bridgerton or something. So
Bridget from yes, I was like, oh
that's
my gosh, are you
great.
kidding me? Are
That's
you doing this? He's like, I'm booked and busy. I'm booked and busy. I'm like,
I
I'm
know, I
like,
know. I
Swanky.
love Swanky, so I'm
He's
definitely down for
crazy.
that one
Yeah.
as well. So,
Mm-hmm.
ah,
Mm-hmm.
well, this was so much
Mm-hmm.
fun, my dear. But I
All
guess we gotta
right.
shut it down.
All
So,
right. Thank you so much for stopping by. We're gonna be doing more stuff with you. Tomorrow
thank
we are doing
you.
Summer House reunion, correct?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
we
So
will be doing
y'all
that.
come back here. We're gonna be doing Summer House reunion for the Mother's Vineyard, the black people over there, we are advocating for black power.
I know that's right. Even in the vineyard.
You even in the vineyard, girl.
Yes.
All right.
All
Thank
right.
you. Thank you for
Talk to you a little
coming. All
bit.
right.
Okay.
Much
Bye.
respect. All right.
Bye.
Bye. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for stopping by. Don't forget to come back tomorrow. It is your girls, Mother from Mama, and exactly Erica. Please support us because it's our winning season. Bye, everybody.